Welcome back to some professional Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition. The RedBull Wololo Finals. Number 5, held in a castle in Germany, yet no German players making it to the finals. Instead, we have these two challengers. You should probably recognize, if you've been following the scene for any amount of time, and even not, but we're playing Empire Wars, and I'm going to take a little time. It's not going to be a short series, best of 7. But Empire Wars, unlike what your stereotypical Age of Empires 2 match, or whatever stereotypes you have about how long it takes, Empire Wars does not give you that time. I might even venture to say it's faster than Starcraft 2, because Empire Wars is very different. You start in the feudal age. You start with 27 villagers. You start with a barracks, a blacksmith, with loom, all these basic Dark Age upgrades. You have a couple farms, you have 12 on food and wood, and essentially you hit the ground running. Whether it's with 4 hooves or with a couple. I'm implying people have hooves. Anyways. And immediately when the game starts, you have the resources and the ability to start building units and sending them at your opponent. The civs are the same. They have the same bonuses. They have the same drawbacks as they do in your average Age of Empires game. But there are certain civilizations that become a lot stronger when you jump straight into the feudal age. The one picked here by TheViper, who I think is probably the favorite going in, but by no means certain, is Vikings. Not because they're warships on this land map, but infantry hit points and most importantly, wheelbarrow and handcart. These two very heavy economic upgrades that usually deny you the ability to build villagers. Instead, allow you to jumpstart your economy even more, as well as having a solid late game with archers and halberds. Whereas on the other side, Ethiopians is the choice. For Liereyy, you get an extra bit of a bonus to start, as well as some later game upgrades. We are kicking it off on runestones, which is like, in my opinion, a bit of Arabia Light, or maybe Old Arabia. It's Arabia adjacent, Arabia being the map in Age of Empires. Though we will see a variety of maps and a variety of civilizations, I just want to make sure everyone's up to speed because we're not going to slow down during Empire Wars. And while I might not be the most knowledgeable Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition caster, I hope you enjoy the commentary, you like, you subscribe, and you have a good time. Let's go. Spacebar doesn't start. Viper kicking it off. Immediately starts an archery range. Leaning into those archers on the other side, Liereyy. Which is how I'm going to try to say it. I don't know if it's Liereyy. I keep going back and forth on this. I don't think there's a consensus on how to say it exactly. I probably couldn't pronounce it correctly, but the scout battle begins. And it looks like Viper... Wait, I don't understand how this works. It looks like neither of them really have any natural upgrades to scouts, and neither of them was on a high ground, getting that slight damage bonus. So they both beat each other in the face until they're one hit from death and move on with their lives. Will the villager go for it? No. So an even match to start. Well, an archer is garrisoned within the archery range, and of course, Liereyy knows this right now. The archer could pop out anytime. Scouts will be the choice. So leaning into that more mobile harass as opposed to something that can poke from over the tree line. And that, I think, has inspired Viper to wall off earlier here. You know, the scouts, well, aiming those arrows takes a little bit of training. Training which in the feudal age a lot of archers did not have. So until the ballistics upgrade or thumb ring, a wide variety of things, the archers are going to have a tough time, and Liereyy taking advantage of that. Some quick walls there. The villagers just pulling them out of their back pocket as they do. Deer as well. The scout dies behind the house. Nobody will remember him. Another scout coming in, drawing some fire from the TC, which is currently Most of the villagers are nearby the TC, as you start out with a few sheep already there conveniently. More archers coming out. Lierey's going to have to follow this up with something else. He's got archers of his own. So, looking at the upgrades, fletching, already done for Viper. So he is leaning more into... I wouldn't be surprised. And something important to note, you can see the upgrades here in this. There's a lot going on the Capture Age overlay, though. A lot of important stuff in Age of Empires. +1, ranged attack, fletching in this case, is not just for damage, but it is also for range. So, usually, ranged units will prioritize the attack upgrades, whereas melee units will prioritize the armor upgrades, at least generally, to start out. There are the scouts trying to fight the villagers, which are actually kind of capable of fighting scouts. There's an archer back there. The scout goes down, citizens arrest, as they pull, the villagers pull their knives out of who knows where, but they have them, and the scouts really just don't. They're not designed for heavy combat. They're called scouts, not I don't know, knights. Yeah, I mean, they haven't yet gotten promoted, and at this rate, not many of them will be. And also they can't, because that's how the game works. Archers behind the lines, as Liereyy has not focused nearly as much on William. Archers gonna fight each other. Is fletching done? Fletching is complete. Castle Age is on the way for both sides. The dance begins. The scout trying to draw some fire, while the skirmisher, good against everything here from Viper, well, that pikeman microing back and forth, finally goes down. Oh, what? 4 villagers over here. What are you doing? Found a few of them. Surprising that Viper's able to get, well, he gets 1. And each villager matters a lot, because while you're going up in age, while you've clicked up and spent all those resources, you can't build any villagers. There's only a single town center right now. So there's a lot of time when neither player, when neither player just simply can't build villagers. So every villager, especially at this early stage with 1 town center, will be felt as we go into the game. Now, 1 villager, okay. It's not the end of the world, but having to run around and run away from those archers for a while will have an impact as time goes on. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and translate Castle Age. I know. Thank you. I'm very bilingual here. And that's +2 ranged attack as well as crossbows and town watch for that building vision. Same thing on the other side, where the arrow duel will begin. The crossbows, more range, more HP, more damage, more handsome. All those upgrades critical. And on the other side, I mean, Viper's doing the same thing. We got 12 versus 12. It's gonna come down to who lands the shots. You can dodge the shots until... Accuracy is nowhere near perfect against moving targets, especially at maximum range, until you get the ballistics and the thumb ring upgrades, which add accuracy. 1 ballistics is for leading targets, and then the thumb ring is for ones that are stationary. No, they don't have rifle sights on those. Imagine if archers could just hit every time. Wouldn't that be ridiculous? Great training. Well, it looks like Liereyy, both sides not meeting on the field, but instead trying to slip by and get some damage done. Ooh, snipes off 1 crossbow. So far, Liereyy opening it up, but at the same time, Viper has more archers, and then more stuff does counter less stuff, as people have said about RTS games in the past. Liereyy winning fights on either side. His score a couple hundred up, not indicative of much right now. Has either player gone for another town center? When you're building this many archers, you're kind of hard-pressed to find the wood for that TC, and we see on both sides almost all the wood being spent immediately. Not very much on food at all. 43 to 45 vills, the 1 or 2 killed earlier, making the difference so far. And on the high ground, Liereyy fighting against superior numbers, but he does more damage. Oh, Viper drawing shots. And overall, it looks like Viper will clean this up. Liereyy dodging arrows, dancing, slipping, and sliding back and forth. Won't pick up any more. 17 to 12 crossbows, though. Despite all of this, despite that counterattack at the back, that's a lot more crossbows. Oh my god, enough to easily kill villagers that are unlucky enough to actually get hit from that range. More TCs are on the way, because Viper, he was investing in growing his economy. But growing your economy doesn't work great if you lose all your villagers. Those town centers can garrison the vills, but crossbows with +2 attack can maneuver around everything that isn't under essentially the canopies here. The range of the TC not enough to keep the crossbows from doing any damage as they do the stutter step to dodge the predictable arrows. Liereyy is all in. Oh my god, would you stop screaming, bird? We're busy here. He has no other town centers. He's getting a thumb ring right now. All his money is going into making this attack work. No. That is significantly less for Viper. I'm surprised he took that fight at all. He's trying to take some trades here. But the economy from the town centers is certainly not paying off yet. Ooh, loses another 1 or 2 to the TC. Meanwhile, another attack from the right flank. Now, wooden walls, it does take a lot of arrows to go through them. Arrows, smaller wooden walls at relatively high speed. So not particularly effective. Viper up 5 villagers now, but down 13 crossbows. He's adding some elite skirmishers in, which do have that bonus. The designated counter to pikes and archers alike, especially the crossbows, ideally. Yeah, 2 skirmishers is not enough to counter that many. But they cause Liereyy to turn around. Alright. Viper down a few hundred in score, but Viper probably, to my understanding, the most accomplished player in Age of Empires 2, especially Definitive Edition history. So probably, like, I don't think he's a stranger to being a little behind. What does he have at the back? Market on the way. Does he have he has 1,100 gold. Well, not anymore. He's trying, it doesn't grow interest over time. It just grows interest in why you're not spending your gold. That's the only resource he's been able to really get safely. He had quite a convenient gold patch back here. 10 gold patches. Protected by a TC. So, really playing into that. And with it, he can fund the rest of his economy. Eventually, those market gouging prices are going to make things difficult. But for now, it's keeping him afloat. There he is. He's broken down the gates with enough pointy sticks. We do see fighting into the skirmishers and a handful of crossbows, but he does have the numbers. Meanwhile, another fight. On the other side, skirmishers versus crossbows. 4 skirmishers now, and they do have +2 armor. There, on the other hand, only +1. But a mangonel ready to chuck some rocks into the skirmishers, which do essentially 0 damage to it. More like emotional damage, and since there's no person behind the mangonel, it doesn't seem to care. Yeah, the villagers have to reposition. A siege workshop of his own for Viper, who's now up 20 vills. And this attack, I was kind of wondering how he'd close it out, because once those TCs are up, but this just casually saunters out of the way. Oh, 2 mangonels though. One mangonel being built, they can counter one another. And does he actually goes for it, fires a shot, but up to the high ground, does slightly less. A shot, they counter it. He killed, so from my understanding, when you delete your own unit, it actually increases the radius of the mangonel shot for some 20th century RTS reason. So he knew it was very likely to die anyways. He made sure he secured the kill. 2 mangonels against 0. Well, actually, those numbers change. Viper does the same thing and actually misses. He missed the volley, and he deleted his own. It was likely to die, but... And now he's going to lose the siege workshop as Liereyy continues to add on the pressure. Oh, that is a... Imagine taking one shot and missing. It's like, well, did not capture it. Capture Age captured it, but you did not. A wolf is hunting down skirmishers, which is actually a surprisingly dangerous scenario. And Liereyy, even nature is on his side in this game. The skirmisher's doing some damage and killing a villager, but the wolf is gonna actually rack up some kills of its own. The wolf, oh no, and then it doesn't discriminate. I mean, now the wolves have been let loose inside the villager line. Usually not much. Oh no, a move command! Disaster for Liereyy! Where are you no, come back, no! Oh my god! Oh no! Oh, that's gonna take a lot of wind out of his Imperial Age sails. Oh, like 8-9 crossbows just walking through those skirmishers. And now Viper starting to dodge mangonel hits. Oh, Viper kills one. Oh my god, he almost went 2 for 1. Viper showing he's on top of it. Liereyy struggling here. Oh. The mangonel cleans up some of the counterattacking skirmishers. But I think, we can definitely say he's killing mangonels with skirmishers. That's illegal. Alright? I'm issuing Viper a yellow card, which is appropriate for being a sweaty boy. That's not supposed to happen. 58 villagers is, I'm not, well...
The numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you.
59 is less than 93. Those TCs, Viper has just stayed calm and collected under pressure. I think Liereyy kind of got into like, oh, come on, you're dead. He had so many more crossbows, but that has not translated into a safe Imperial Age here. And now, Viper's up 50 supply, most of that villagers, but I'm not sure how Liereyy recovered. Like, he doesn't have a castle to build trebuchets. So, there goes that opportunity. Right now, the only advantage he has are arbalists. And those arbalists, well, better than crossbows. While he has that bracer for the extra range, it's not that much better. Like, you don't need the newest iPhone just because it came out. Okay? Don't let Tim lie to you. And right now, Viper perfectly happy with his Archer's 5S. Well, the mangonel's not great, but he does get one. The strike team, SEAL Team 5, with the speed of a SEAL, on land. Though, when you hold up your crossbows like that the whole time, it's no wonder. Just like the javelin dudes holding up their javelin. They're ready for battle at all times. Okay. It's very heavy. They have a lot of upper body strength, though, to balance it out. Now, this is it. This is the big... we really need to start using that A button on the keyboard, I think, as at least a couple dozen archers now have wandered into some hungry skirmishers, despite technically having superior range. So, very kind of dropping the ball on the attack move. But he does have the arbalists, which are the top tier archer. And technically the Ethiopians have more DPS than the Viking archers. At least if I'm remembering those bonuses correct. So, not by a massive margin, but by enough that if they get into the right spot with similar numbers, they're gonna win the fight. Oh my god, just machine gunning out. Meanwhile, just a mixed bag of siege here. You just pulled, they got a mangonel, we got a bombard cannon. They got the dude just pushing the bombard cannon around, which is always great. It's a trebuchet on wheels. Oh, the mangonels trade out. I guess trebuchets are technically on wheels, but it's a whole deal. Bombard cannon, not really a close range fighting unit. The scores are surprisingly even. We got more attacks near the front as well. Bombard going to be surrounded by... The amount of siege units that have died to skirmishers is a little obscene right now. A little, not a lot. Like a kind of... You know, maybe you shouldn't be showing so much stomach, kind of obscene. It's like, I can't judge you for it. But, like, it's your decision. But maybe rethink it. If you're losing bombard cannons to skirmishers, something has gone very wrong or very right, in my opinion. I'm not sure which one it is right now. But there's Imperial Age for Viper, and that more even score. It's still within a few hundred. Viper immediately starts Bracer. No Arbalest yet, as he's spending all that food. He has 113 vills to... Larry's up to 85, so... Alright, the bombards are just shelling. And there's no real way to close the distance. More villagers dying. Larry's starting to really leverage those Arbalists. He's got some on the right, where the whole neighborhood's coming to deal with them. But over to the left, the Arbalist cleaning up the much smaller force. Oh my, that is a very bold castle. That is, well, it may be in doubt. We will see. 3, I think he's kind of counting on Viper's castle going down, and Viper doesn't actually have a real way to deal with... He doesn't have that much range. Oh, he's gonna build it slightly... No, it's still in range. The villagers are not, though. The Mangonel. Does he see the Mangonel? He sees it. You gotta get the Mangonel! Oh my god! The Mangonel! Oh no, it's coming! Oh my... Only takes 2 hits. There are some juicy clumps here. Oh, he fires a shot. Oh wow, what a dodge. Beautiful dodge. But in comes from the right flank. The bombard's gonna add a lot of damage. Arbalist complete. The numbers are still on the side of Liereyy. The castle's on the way. Bombard's unloading and just cleaving through. The bombard cannon's making all the difference alongside that chemistry upgrade. And suddenly Viper's forced back. Liereyy just kind of puts a castle right up in his face and says, what are you gonna do about it? And suddenly, with 4 bombards, Liereyy now, despite being on a mediocre economy, despite having essentially a handful more archers, and maybe a little more siege, it really looked like Viper might turn it around, but that's the beauty of Age of Empires. 1 castle changes everything. Unless it doesn't, but many times it can. It really depends. There's a lot of dynamic situations. 4 bombard cannons have a tendency to create those situations, and oh my god, just pounding into the town center. The villagers have already evacuated, and Liereyy takes the lead in score once again, though it has been quite close most of this time. So how? Viper's now getting chemistry of his own. That chemistry upgrade adds damage for the archers, as well as access to things like bombard cannons. You can see it in the fancy, like, flaming arrows and all that when it's done, on top of the units themselves. Arbalist coming back. Viper just counterattacked with most of his units. Meanwhile, 4 bombard cannons. 2 more bombard cannons getting killed mostly by skirmishers. Oh, no. Shimming. The fights are all over the place right now. Oh, that underneath the castle, Viper trying to target fire. There's actually a tower. You love to see it. No stone for a castle? A tower's not terrible. Of course, not nearly as good as a castle, but still gives some point defense here. Meanwhile, center lane. Viper's still sending skirmishers into a castle, which is not the most cost-effective method. They may be able to kill bombard cannons, but I'm hard-pressed to see skirmishers killing a castle anytime in this age. Well, Trebuchet is not the superior siege weapon, as we see here. Meanwhile, a handful, just the stragglers left over. Viper... Okay, so... Viper's at 192 to 111 supply. The actual military supply for Liereyy is only... He's got 17 and dropping arbalists, 3 mangonels, and 2 bombards. So macro seems to be outstripping micro here somewhat, as the sheer amount of units that the Viper's putting on the field is overwhelming. He's got 46 skirmishers. He's got 24 arbalists. Does he have 5 rams? He has 5 rams. So, I think I have an idea of where those are going. Yep, another round. Moving through. It's kind of felt like Larry's been on the clock since Viper added those 2 extra TCs. There was a moment when that castle in the middle of the map went up that maybe it could turn around, but Viper just, well, if he's controlling the center, I'll go to the sides. It's pretty, I think Sun Tzu had some things to say about that, like learn to macro noob or something along those lines. Yeah, onagers now. The upgraded mangonels. Not doing enough to stall out Viper's overwhelming unit count. Meanwhile, there's still archers and skirmishers in the main. Just having their... Well, one of them has enough range to deal with the TC. It's going to be a bit, though. Oh my god, are we going to see it again? Is it going to happen again? Not again. 1. Whoa, that was a big hit. They're everywhere. Like, find me somewhere archers are not attacking. Oh my god! Over here as well. They're everywhere. Oh my. It's all coming up. Yep. Well, at the end of the day, Viper and his long-term macro outstripping the more tunnel vision of Liereyy there. And it's not like I think Liereyy like chose necessarily a bad strategy or anything. It's just Viper defended a little too well and maintained too much economy for too long. And at least this game, macro will be better than micro. But that is why we play longer series. We got a whole best of 7. Which means Liereyy still has plenty of chances and plenty of civilizations and plenty of maps. I imagine we'll see a significant variety. And the thing is, I don't know any of these maps. But these players actually do, apparently. We're going to Atacama next with a lot of cavalry. All right, Jimmy, get us back into the match. It's Empire Wars. We don't have to wait 10 minutes and pretend we know anything. No, no, no. Not this one, the cat. Yeah, there we go. All right. Huns for the Viper. Who needs houses? So apparently, in Empire Wars, fun fact, the Huns, despite being unable to build houses, in Empire Wars, they get houses anyways, because lucky them. Because that's just how it works. As well as being quite focused on cavalry archers, and their stables work fast. Like, what do you expect? Oh, what an open map. Meanwhile, Liereyy with the Magyars. Wow, they are quite close together. We're going to see a lot of scouts. Villagers kill wolves with 1 strike. Which, definitely the first most important bonus, in my opinion. Also, they get attack upgrades for melee free. Whatever. And 15% cheaper cavalry. Whatever. As well as fancy hussars that have a Z in them, so that way they're way cooler. So generally a solid cavalry civ. All around. So both of them kind of focused. I mean, Hun's a little more towards the cavalry archers, and the Magyars for the scouts. Speaking of scouts, already scouts in and about. Viper taking game 1. Yeah, let's get the score on the board. Kind of important. As I said it, not a lot of scouts. In this game, Viper just goes archers. Liereyy gonna respond with a handful of skirmishers here, but are those skirmishers? I guess they are. Fletching for both sides, prioritizing those archer upgrades over anything else. 5 scouts, some of them are garrisoned inside the stable, ready to pop out for potentially this exact moment. So, I mean, Runestones wasn't a particularly closed-off map, one that was very easy to wall. But neither is Atacama, it seems. A whole lot that just stands of trees besides the somewhat semi-forest in the middle. A lot of gold and stone throughout, but I guess Huns, anything cavalry-related, a strong pick on a map that you're unlikely to be able to wall off, or at least maintain a wall. Is that... There's a cactus. Can you eat the cactus? No. Moving on. The scouts will just run past the archers. The villagers are a little stressed out right now. And then a scout and a couple pikes. Units are just kind of all... Oh my god, what happened here? We missed something. The KD right now, Viper with 1 kill and 5 deaths. But that does not bode well. I was following the micro on the other side. It feels like the pikes maybe are on the wrong side of the map right now, as on the home front. Villagers, Viper's behind 4 villagers. Most of the deaths were those hard-working people. The backbone of the economy. 1 pike, well, 1 spear. Very important. Not a pikeman. Much easier to kill. Still does a lot of damage to scouts, but... The archers will fight until they see a few too many skirmishers and back off. So denying some gold mining here. The hardest part of getting to Castle Age, especially if you're going scouts, is getting that 800 food. If you're going to archers, you're a little less reliant on the food, but of course you need other resources. But in order to get to Castle Age, you need 800, 200. Which is not a small order for either player. Is that a boat? Do I see a boat? There's water! I didn't even notice. It's like 4 lakes. It is 4 lakes. There are 4. 4 lakes, but everything else is desert. Alright, so the battle continues. Archers slipping in. There's no wall in this location, which seems like a bit of an oversight considering that's most of the gold. Feels like Viper has a pretty overwhelming amount of archers. Another scout going down. Is anyone even pretending like they're going to get to castle? No. We're not even remotely close. They're both spending everything, and that's a trend with Empire Wars. You might think, oh, starting out in feudal age with all those villagers, you can get to castle pretty... No. No. You live or die in the feudal age much of the time in Empire Wars. And right now, Liereyy is... He does have... Actually, no. We're counting fishing boats as villagers. That's how... Viper has found a clever way to catch up in the worker count. By adding those fishing boats in, which are actually even better than farmers. As one, fish is naturally occurring for a while. And even fish traps are still very efficient. So, fishing the best way to get food if you have access to it most of the time. But it does take some of that wood to get the ships initially, build the dock, all that. Liereyy, he has 10 scouts right now with +1/+1. They do have those upgrades. Only 2 spearmen in here, which does not seem like the number that Viper might want to deal with quite that many. He's got scouts, but they were running off into the sunset. Maybe looking for a counterattack. Scouts all over the place. The archers slip behind him. Skirmisher's not focusing on the more valuable targets in the back. They might move forward momentarily. Viper boxes out with his scouts against the Magyars. A couple more spears finish up, and that's going to be enough damage to poke down a couple horses. But the skirmishers are within skirmishing range. Chasing the archers away, and the scouts win the battle for the rest. Without any spear. He actually deletes one of his own houses, which he didn't need in the first place, in order to give a safe space for those archers, at least for now. Cavalry have a problem with working in large groups, or like going through anywhere that isn't a massive open area. So even this relatively large gap is going to create significant issues for the scouts. But Viper bit off a lot more than he could chew on the open field, and now is paying for that with a tower on the way. The scouts just... Villagers out trying to find wood anywhere they can go. The lumber camp quite a ways away. And Liereyy looking very good right now at controlling the feudal age and potentially going past it. Though, he has not found the fish. He has not seen the lake. Does he know there are lakes? Does this map always have lakes? That is a real question. Because sometimes lakes show up on Arabia, for example. I'm pretty sure this map always has lakes. So he should know that's an option. And in fact, he's right there. I don't know what he'd do about it, to be honest, because it's not like the scouts are going to kill the dog. But at least factoring that in seems important. Alright, well, a whole ragtag army for both sides. The scouts getting up in it. Hard to tell exactly how it's gonna go down until it all shakes out. But with the archers, if the scouts aren't moving, the archers will land most of their shots. Yeah, he sees the dock now. And in fact, despite all this harassment, despite the scouts all up in his grill, which is continuing, Viper will be by far the first one to get to cast. He's got it on the way. All he needs to do is minimize damage. Honestly, I'm not sure what he plans on building in the Castle Age. Yeah, we just gonna go straight to crossbows? I would imagine so. But he still has a lot of scouts to deal with. There's still almost total map control. He's running out of wood. This is a real concern. There's not much wood. There's only so many trees. And this is a huge sticking point when there's cavalry all over. Like, as he chops down more trees, he's creating more space for the scouts to move around as well. On top of the fact he's further away from his town center. Like, Castle's 30 seconds out. Liereyy has not even thought about Castle yet. He's not banking up food. He's continually building the scouts, of which he has 23. Oh. All right, there it is. Castle Age. We'll see if Liereyy changes anything. Immediate crossbow. Immediate +2. Getting that Bogkin arrow. Here we go. It's happening. Whatever it is, it's happening. As Liereyy does not want to give Viper the opportunity to get those upgrades finished up. Skirmishers shift-clicking through the archers. Working his way. The villagers are just frozen in shock. Crossbows finish, but how many survivors are left? Only 7. Liereyy choosing the moment to strike, understanding that those upgrades were imminent. And upgrades do not take long, less than a minute. So Liereyy capitalizing on what opportunity he had. And that drives Viper down 12 villagers. It's not over. Well, he's got 3 crossbows, 2 cavalry archers, which are going to be pretty hard to track down. There's blood throughout the field, kind of indicating how messy this battle was. A knight comes out as well, but we're going to have to ask ourselves that eternal caster question. Give me a moment, Viper, please. At what cost? Liereyy just unloading everything into Viper's base. Viper, not nearly enough left over. Game 2, all tied up. All right. Jimmy, bring us the next match. That was a significant number of scouts. It is so hard in my... I feel like I could just add in my experience as an asterisk on everything. So let's just pretend I'm doing that. It is so hard, even in Empire Wars, to decide I'm not even going to bother with Castle Age. I'm just going. Just all scouts all the time. It appears that when you load a new game that everyone dies, which is very sad. Alright. That was painful. Very concerning. But with... Oh, that wasn't a new game. That was actually the next map starting. I do want to show the people. That was here on Aftermath. The Aftermath. Oh my god, do you see those ruins? Those ruins are Liereyy deleting all of his non-stone walls, interestingly. Because they started with some palisades and some... Actually, I'm not sure. Because they definitely right-click. The stone walls, it looks like, will be left. Both players did it. It does appear. Unless that is actually what happened during the match. The map... Maybe that's the aftermath part of the map. Age of Empires has a lot more, like, if you're more experienced with Starcraft 2. No, we don't have perfectly sanitized, exactly the same every time. Age of Empires maps are procedurally generated, essentially. What happens is there's a set of variables. Sometimes there's a guaranteed to start, like on Arena, you always have walls around your base. Here, apparently, not as much. This is like an Arena early access. As well as many other fun/frustrating situations. Like, there is a trade workshop. Which I actually am not entirely sure what that does. But they're fighting over the trade workshops, which, seem valuable based on the fact people are dying for them, so I'm sure that both commanders are entirely... It gives you resources. Ah, yes. So, in this economy, having that is obviously important. The question will be, how much does it cost to hold them? Of course, you don't want your opponent to have them, because then they have them. So you can't let your opponent have them, but also, you don't want to lose all your units. Wow, that's cool. That's a cool bonus there. Yeah, you'll see a lot of stuff like this. I've never actually seen the trade workshops. So this map is Civilization, in this case for Liereyy, the Franks, and for Viper, the Saracens. A choice you don't often see in 1v1. I do want to go over the Saracen bonuses. Franks, cavalry good, very good, greatly good, and cheaper castles. Almost everyone knows your Frank bonuses. But as for the Saracens, and we have these archers moving up, your trade cost is less. So and your market costs less as well. So in a scenario where you have a trickle of income, and potentially a differing set of resources, this doesn't usually come into effect as much in your standard 1v1s, but an interesting choice, especially for this map. As Viper now controls both trade workshops, but while he controls both trade workshops, he does not control his own gold, which... That's a choice. Kind of made for him, but that's going to be rough to start things off. He rushes to the Castle Age. It was so fast, I wasn't even expecting it. And I don't know if Liereyy was either, because Liereyy just started his a few seconds ago. He's 2 minutes out. So, Saracens have camels, which we'll see for the first time here. The camel rider. I mean, any sort of heavy cavalry gonna be good against these feudal age archers. Actually, not as good as I thought. He will get one. He's actually... Wow. Okay, never mind. Not good. Camel's bad. Unless they're Mamluks. Mamluks good. Mamluks are the best unit in the game because they have fancy curved swords and they throw them at people. And it's sick. Honestly, Mamluks my favorite unique unit. Obscenely expensive. But their swords are super cool. And you can make a lot of them by just simply using your dad's credit card at the market. Save us, Mamluke Skywalker. There are a couple monks for Viper as well, with his camel knight composition. Now, the camels do bonus damage to camels. Franks do not have access to camels. They have access to the best knights in the game because they get built-in 20% extra HP. Not just plus 20, 20%, which ends up being higher than plus 20 for the later game units. Couple knights coming in, dropping that villager count of Liereyy down. You know, it appears that armor upgrades have completed for Viper, as that camel and that knight doing quite. He's got 1-1, but nothing else on the way. At least for now. Where are those monks? Wait. Monks just chilling. Waiting for their moment. I don't think there's anything for them to convert at the moment. Viper over here just doing a market simulator. Not really a simulator. He's actually just using the market. He's trading back and forth whatever resources he has on hand. So good marketing from Viper. Liereyy right now, I'm not even sure he has a market. So he's focused more on the brute force aspect of things. And with that, he's got 18 crossbows. Frank crossbows. To be frank, I don't know how well that's going to work out for him in the long run. But we will see. That definitely is not what Viper's expecting. Monks, not so good against dozens of arrows shot at them. They're not the quickest units. And converting a crossbow doesn't have nearly the game-changing effect of a knight or something. Once again, the gold. The gold is exposed in the stables. End up creating a choke point. So this is another. I have no idea what to think of this. I'm completely out of my comfort zone here on this map, and I am hard pressed to have any idea how this ends because it looks like Liereyy has a ton of archers in Viper's base, but archers move barely quicker than a villager, so. Meanwhile, Viper with some knights and a single camel, but getting boxed out of Lierey's base. There's a single. He even goes for a scorpion here. Scorpions just fire a line through you. It doesn't have the impact in every way of a mangonel, but can find a lot of damage, especially against archers that are trying to stack up. Yeah, you see. Chipping. Oh, wow. Repairing the scorpion. Doing so. Oh, the mangonel pops out. Finds a few. The wombo combo here. Just throwing everything at him. And that is going to make things a little easier. Viper's down 4 or 5 vills right now. Liereyy. Alright. Eventually we build knights, right? Like, I'm everything I ever knew about Franks. Then again, the thing is, civilizations are not tied to just their good units, right? We're in the Castle Age. We don't have that many upgrades. The good units are the ones that get you what you need to get done. And of course, those objectives change depending on the map and the situation. But Liereyy wanted to make sure he could deny as much mining out of Viper as possible. I think he succeeded at that. So now he's dragged the rest of the units back. These knights are going to do pretty well. But at the same time, Lierey's moving up to control the trade workshop, which has limited at best defense. A couple cavalry archers slipping by. So Viper just murders. Oh my! Wow. But just assume Viper's balancing his budget throughout all this. Really using that market. Meanwhile, a couple conversions, not a counter to getting shot in the face. Okay. Holy words don't stop crossbow bolts. Another attack from Liereyy. I don't think it's going to be as scary now that no scary Liereyy here. More of the walls taken down for Viper to give the Scorpion a better opportunity to get damage done. Spread formation for Liereyy. Not as good against Knights because, of course, they can individually butter up and chop through each of those units. Makes it a lot easier to pick them out. But out of nowhere, Mangonel, direct hit! Oh, no! Another shot. Perfectly dodged. Great job by Liereyy there. But the Scorpion helping out Mangonel from the north side. The pike count... Ooh, gotta be careful. Don't hit your own knights. Yeah. Viper managing that quite well. Oh, here we go. The monks are down. The knights easily gonna chop apart the fragile Mangonels. And look for the Scorpion as well. More marketing from Viper. All the Mangonels down. The knights will successfully remove those siege weapons. These two cavalry archers, I'm not sure how well they've been doing. But based on these villagers over in this wood district have not had a great time. Between the early harass and now these cavalry archers have been taking... Oh, wow. Okay, it was at like 2 HP. The knights clean it up. Meanwhile, battle in the middle of the map. A lot of damaged cavalry up against a death ball of crossbows. They're starting to chop through, but the target fire from Liereyy is good, picking off one after another. Starting to run out of numbers, and the cavalry archers will add some damage, and suddenly Viper wins the day. Liereyy, sent to knight, grabs the trade workshop. Viper still doing his marketing business. And so far, it's paid off for him. 28 to 13 military supply. Plus 2 cavalry armor. Plus 2 arrow attack, like ranged attack. Now the upgrades for Viper. We got plus 1 melee, plus 1 cavalry armor, plus 2 ranged, and plus 1 ranged armor for Liereyy. So a little more spread there. And here come the archers again. In towards the uncomfortably forward-placed gold of Viper. He does have access to some more at the back. He hasn't actually scouted it yet, but he has a much easier to protect gold back here if he was a few steps further. The knights will see it, I think. And Viper's struggling to find much. Cavalry archers underneath a fresh new TC, but the arrows of the TC are going to do a lot more. Viper's struggling to find any damage while getting dealt it pretty dramatically. Scorpion pops out, but where is Viper mining? He's had 8 minutes of idle town center time, which means he's got barely anything able to gather food right now. He's not gathering any gold. Lierey's almost checkmated him here. He's got a castle on the way. There's running out of options. He's selling stone because that's all he really has here. Oh no. Where are you going, villagers? Into more crossbows. Yeah, it's... Oh, wait a second. Okay. Well, this is how you throw the game. The way you throw the game is have, like, a solid 20% of your villagers get murdered trying to build a castle in your opponent's face. Now, the crossbows will move to protect if the castle finishes, I think. Well, if it starts. As soon as you see those villagers. It looks like Saracen marketing not nearly as powerful as the Frank crossbows. I think Viper leaning a little too... I like what Liereyy did. Everyone knows Franks go knights. Yeah, everybody knows. Alright? Franks go knights. That's why they're so good. They're amazing at knights. Viper over here building camels, building monks. Neither of which is particularly great against any form of archer. So Liereyy just hit him with the curveball, and boom. There you go. 2 to 1. All right. What a strat. Not the opener. Not the opening score, if I can get my words out. Honestly, that game, I struggled. Okay. It was hard to tell what's going on, why, between the walls falling and some of my sanity. But we got through it. Next up is Enclosed. Which better be exactly what it sounds like. It's not. It is not. Anyways, here we are. Larry up 2-1. Enclosed apparently means you have, like, you're right next to your opponent on a mostly wide open map besides the circle of trees in the center. It looks very cool. But, interesting. I'm not huge on the naming of all this. There are already spears going across the map. We're 1 minute in. Water Buffalo whining about things. Vietnamese versus Sicilians. Getting a Sicilians game in here. Sicilians, one of the newer civs. They have extra stone, their castles, and their TCs build a little faster. They also have the donjon, which is kind of like the Bulgarian creep post, which can be built by sergeants once you build a donjon. So the unique unit can build more buildings, interestingly. And then the Vietnamese enemy positions are revealed at the start of the game, though it doesn't take a genius to figure out where they would be here. They got Rattan archers, which are quite great en masse, as well as just more HP for archers. So you've got a pretty varied set of upgrades here. Sicilian's a little more melee focused, as well as those. I wonder how the donjons are going to factor in, if at all. I don't think they're like the strat, but they definitely, more often than not, you'll see them. Whereas I think the strat is pretty obvious here, especially with how we're opening up. For Larry, archers, and whatever you need to put in front of them. And so far, so good on that front. Archer armor for Viper. A little quicker for Larry right now. And he's just walking into range, knowing he has the numbers. Chasing down, run! No, not going to work out. Viper trying to trade as well as he can, but oh, what a dodge. He's going to lose this fight, but that... Oh. Gets the other scout as well. Viper, once again, back at the market, buying himself some food. As that is a bit of a struggle to keep up early on if you're building skirmishers and scouts and... Well, he's not actually building anything but that for the moment. No pikes. Skirmishers do cost a bit of food. And of course, never to forget, so do villagers. Alright. And dancing around... I should probably have the health bars, eh? Apparently we're just having an outright skirmisher battle. So the Vietnamese are not just archers, but all archery range units, which do include those skirms. 36 versus 30 HP, which is at least one more attack. It's a little odd. Like, you would think the javelins would do more damage than archers, but don't worry about it. The javelins are... They throw them a lot slower, so something physics. Meanwhile, the villagers are a real and present danger. It is Empire Wars, we do start with loom and all that. The skirmishers have a minimum range, which the villagers are abusing by getting up in their personal space, which is a counter to a great many things. Surprisingly, we got Larry backing off. Viper, once again, I think this has been a regular trend here. But Viper gets Castle Age a full minute quicker. Over a minute. Now, what will he do with it? He's lost 4 villagers, or at least, well, he's a few villagers down because Liereyy built a couple more villagers. Before he went to Castle. And also, I think he lost a couple to the Skirmisher and then more Skirmisher combo. This is quite an interesting fight. Elite Skirms are on the way for Viper, as well as Bodkin Arrow, which also applies to Jab. In fact, I think the picture is more like a Jab than that, but not that that is particularly relevant. The Elite Skirmishers get sick hats, and that's where they get their extra power from. Watch. Nice. They just pull the hats out of their back pocket. It's like, oh, I can finally put this on, and it's very exciting. Unfortunately, that doesn't make up for the fact they do essentially no damage to scouts. Ooh. The knight, yeah, the knight just chops through, cleaving apart the skirmishers and the skirmishers with their fancy hats. Oh, is that one of the bonuses? Oh, that's actually a sick bonus. Yes, all the important bonuses are always listed in the middle of the pack. Land military units except siege weapons receive less bonus damage. That is a cool bonus. That is a cool anti-bonus bonus. Which is that more bonus or less bonus at the end of the day? Bonus question. So, that means that skirmishers will do less against archers as they get that built in. What are we listening to? Why are people dying? Who am I hearing? Oh, someone died over there. And pikemen do less bonus to cavalry, which I might factor in. And there's a wide array of those little things. But mostly for the counter units, like pikes and skirmishers. Oh, skirms also do bonus damage to skirms? Ah, well, who better? Honestly, every unit should do bonus damage to its own type. I don't think they do, but... but who knows how to kill a skirm than a skirm? Wow, this is a siege workshop and a monastery. Just outside the vision of Viper, as the knights make their way through. They're in the enclosure now. The villagers, the wolves are in the hen house. There's no Magyars to stop them. There he's all-inning once again. He's on one town center and he's building half his town on the other side of the map. The knights will eventually go down to the skirmishers. The skirmishers do have to get... Oh, wow. Slaps down a house wall. Oh, he does have a lumber camp. Unfortunately, Viper losing a lot of villagers to these two knights. Now, some of the knights will get chased down. Is that okay? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got 4 town centers. How do you afford this? With his winnings from all the tournaments before? No. Unfortunately, town centers against the +1. Oh, only +1 armor. It's only going to get worse when +2 armor finishes in a minute. And, oh, he's just building houses over here as well because, finally, Viper came all the way around the map. There's already a wall off on the resources here. There's going to be multiple mangonels. A ram? Is it? Yeah, a ram as well. And Viper, his unit count is 10 skirmishers, 2 monks, and a knight. And that monk is looking pretty... Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, sweet Jesus indeed. Well, that's unfortunate. Viper may have overdone it with 5 town centers here. There are a couple monks back there. But a counter monk as well. Yes, the town centers. Hey, let's see. Oh yeah, town centers build faster for Sicilians. That was the key point. They die at the same speed, which we're testing right now. And they're also bashing down the church. Thing is, town centers still cost the same amount. Which means this is over 1,000 wood and hundreds of stone to build town centers. One scout comes in, snipes a monk. If he gets both, special agent scout. Oh my god. Oh, he almost dodged it. The monk, pretty uncomfortable right now. But, Viper doesn't... So, a key part of most strategy games is building units. It appears Viper not super keen on that. A donjon complete. Like, the Castle Light Edition. This is what you have to pay full price for a castle, but you get a discount for a donjon, which is essentially a castle, but like without the bells and whistles. Maybe bells. There's a lot of bells. Meanwhile, market being used and abused by both sides. More houses as Liereyy wants to keep his focus on the attack. And they provide me another monastery, but Viper gonna try to stall this out with monks. Is he building any sergeants? No sergeants. Not yet. 4 monks against 3 as they spit some holy bars and see who's more convincing. Those knights especially vulnerable, like a strong sense of pride. So, yeah, there you go. Looks like he invested in the premium edition now. The definitive edition as castles go. Well, actually... Okay. Alright, moving on. It didn't sound better in my head. I don't think about things before I say them, and that's part of the problem, but also most of the benefit. The monks working on 4 of these knights. They're just gonna go for the mangonel. Oh my god, very convincing. All 4 immediately. RN Jesus indeed, but the counter monks bringing some of the knights back over. Unfortunately, you know, getting all 4 of those knights immediately is kind of a game changer. Yes, 1 TC will go down. A sergeant comes out, beating on one of the mangonels, and oh my god, look at this. Lierey's monks are just not nearly as convincing. Eventually, the Wait, does this mean Liereyy can build a donjon? And then can he build sergeants of his own? Like, what happens now? Meanwhile, the mangonel is absolutely murdering that. And does he want to is another question. Meanwhile, more stables built close up. Viper actually ahead on score, but this game is a mess in the best possible way. There's the ram has just been going about its business, still at 3rd HP. The sergeant beating on its former base. The knights are out. There's still how many monks? Viper has 100 villagers. He's got 1 monk, and he has 1 mangonel, which is all you need apparently. All right. That does seem a little thin. He's got a knight now, but it wasn't his. Mangonel, wait, did he research redemption, or is this his mangonel? I think it's his mangonel. It came right out of the siege workshop, so we don't have to figure out whether that was a organically sourced mangonel. I only get my mangonels after being convinced of the holy word, which is a very dangerous process, by the way, for the monk. I hear something beating on something. I'm just not entirely sure what it is. Oh, there was a sergeant beating on this mill. but hiding behind the camera. Oh no, that house is down. They're inside the enclosure once again. Viper's at 108 build. When will he build units? I think this is the no unit only conversion challenge. Viper's doing. He's building donjons, town centers, castles, and monks. And that's it. I gotta... Who can tell whose knights are whose anymore? Okay, if the knights only have 100 HP, then I don't know if Sicilians get bloodlines, but they don't have bloodlines on those knights, so... Meanwhile, the knights getting a rousing sermon, which heals them emotionally and physically. Go slowly. They can drag on a while. Alright, there's the bonuses. The first Crusade, by the way. I guess with Sicilians, you gotta read the fine print on all this. Spawn a one-time bonus at each town center. So when the Crusade starts, that is when action will happen. So, right now, there are 5 town centers. So, we're waiting for the Crusade. Which is did that say 7 sergeants? Maximum 5, by the way, so that might be why he's building up to 5. So, there will be 35 sergeants hitting the field, assuming the Crusade. Larry's just kind of slowed this down a bit. He's getting town launch, he's got handcart, he's got 95. How does Viper do this? How is he allowed to do this? Like, how is he allowed to have no units, 5 town centers, 115 villagers? I don't even know, like... And Larry built units outside his base, and somehow he didn't kill him. Eventually, the villagers will chop their way into each other's hearts, yes. We'll see how literal that is. Viper will be the first one into Imperial, which when you build only villagers and town centers, pretty much. That is not surprising. The Sergeant. The Defector. Okay, wait, whose are these? Vipers. Now, this is a little awkward. This villager gets out of there while the getting's good. What a mess. Meanwhile, the monk... Oh my god, he got it! The other knight's got it, but he still got a conversion off, so I think that's overall a net win. You just took, like, what is it, 60 gold? Do I even know what the cost of knights is? I want to say 60, but I think I'm wrong. 60 food, 75 gold, sorry. It was 60 something. Wait, no, 60 food, 75 gold. Sorry again. Either way, you just took it from their side and put it on yours. So for 100 gold for a monk. Oh, it's time for a fucking crusade! Pardon my Frankish. It's happening! With the Imperial Age finishing, with +2 melee armor. Oh my god. Is there a fancy noise? We will see. Oh, that's disappointing. Anyway, so suddenly 35 sergeants. Suddenly Viper's at 182 to 142 supply. Liereyy with some Rattan archers. And some elephants. The archers should be pretty okay against the sergeants. I don't think they're going to be overwhelming. Well, it's a numbers game now. We got a full-on macro match, 30 minutes in. I think it's a good time to bring up that for just general not having the tournament take 12 hours reasons, there is a time limit of 1 hour and 15 in-game time. So we're not even halfway there, but because Empire Wars starts so quick. So if it does get there, which this game is the closest risk, I believe whoever's higher on score wins. Which right now, Viper I didn't even look at it. He bounced up 2,000. The elephants are going to engage some of the sergeants, but a Don is coming together. I heard a trebuchet. Multiple trebuchets are in range. They already just now got to the Imperial age. The archers are doing their best. The sergeants are just walking past them. Does he even have ballistics done? He doesn't. He can't even aim. Those archers have fancy hats, but no aim. More sergeants are on the way. The Donjon's gonna complete. Viper strikes back, and as Vipers do with overwhelming vengeance. And it's over. Well. All right, that escalated quickly. So Viper went about from nothing to everything more quickly than I've ever seen in an AoE 2 match. I mean, the Sicilians are somewhat designed around that, yes. But actually, we gotta... Can I get a graph? I need a graph. So, this is the military... Wait, no. Yeah. This is villagers. I'm struggling. There's got to be some... It doesn't look as impressive as I thought, but this is Viper... essentially having no units. At the early game, it's like 10 units on each side. And then there's a Crusade. He was already building a lot. But that evened out quick. Yeah. I guess you can just build 5 TCs and get away with it. That was a little disgusting, to be honest. A little. But I learned a lot. I hope we all, at the very least, I think everyone learned something. All right, about the Sicilians, which I had to reread every single bonus because Viper used essentially all of them in the ideal way. I read them, and I'm like, all right, and then I have to look back and reread every time the fine print. So, I hope you guys are enjoying my Age of Empires 2 art. I made this while waiting for the team game queue. So, surprise is not more detailed. But we are on Winged. I see why it's called that. Let's jump in. Wow. You guys get it? Look at the wigs. Oh my god. And the gold. Jeez. All right, we got my new recent personal favorite. They got some updates, pretty recent. I believe at the Dawn of the Dukes patch, where their military buildings, archery range and stable only cost 75 wood. The Cumans, I'm talking about, of course. Actually, let's bring it up. Let's read the fine print here. But quickly shooting up to one of my favorite civs. They get an additional TC in the feudal age. Well, here we are. They get fancy rams in the feudal age. The cavalry get faster. They got a lot of fun bonuses, and a big one, understated. Archery range and stables costing 100 less wood, designed for Empire Wars. I mean, at least in practice. So, up against the Bulgarians of Liereyy, they get free militia. Convenient. Blacksmith and siege workshop techs cost less wood. Town centers cost less stone. They got creep posts, which are like donjons, the original edition, and conics, which are actually 2 units in 1. Because when they fall over, then out comes a dude with a mace that was on top of the horse the whole time. Which is pretty fun. And the sound of dozens of conics beating on things is quite unique. Let's put Viper's game on the board. 2-2, all tied up. This will decide who goes to match point of the Red Bull Wololo finals. With thousands on the line, and of course pride. But mostly a lot of money. But also pride, which is priceless. But also a lot of... Meanwhile, villagers... getting the brunt of the terrible things happening here. Liereyy losing... Lierey's down 5 vills. That's bad. Oh my. Wow. Okay. That's really not good. Cuman's not known for their archers, but in the early feudal age, civ bonuses that aren't economic are definitely in my limited experience. Yes, we're back to that. In my limited experience of mostly people in Twitch chat and their comments, so you know, just the cream of the crop. Civ bonuses and unique units don't factor in nearly as much in the feudal age as many people seem to believe. Those economic bonuses, though, on the other hand, really kickstart things, especially in Empire Wars. We've seen Frank crossbows. We're now seeing Cumans with the archers, and Bulgarians with them as well. Just getting those units on the field at the right place and the right time is the key. Once we get into the Castle Age, you see a bit more of a divergence between the civs. Alright, the Scout, it's about equal unit comps here. The upgrades, I think slightly in favor of Liereyy, yeah. Wait, no fletching here for Viper? Or is that a graphical bug? Oh wait, they can't go to +3, and he doesn't have fletching for those archers. So he's not doing as incredible as he could. Yeah, the little grayed out part is they don't actually have that upgrade. Some civs do not have access to those late game upgrades, like I said. It starts to really factor in then. What? These archers, one of them's damaged. I don't know if they were part of the original force. I assume so. Viper's very diligent about exploring the map and has been in all these games. Lierey's been the aggressor in almost every game. If not every game. He's been the one trying to get in to Viper's base and mess up his day. And he succeeded. 2 out of 4 times, at least to a winning extent. And once again, the scouts all up in the villagers' grills here. And their lumber line. A couple more are gonna go down. Yeah, the scouts can fight, obviously, heads up, but once the archers get involved... Well, villager count, still a slight lead for Viper with the early damage done. Will Liereyy finally get to Castle Age first? It remains to be seen. He has 21 on food compared to 14, but when you're going archers, you don't need nearly as much. The scout battle is joined. Upgrades even, but yeah, archers exist, so... More scouts on the way across with reinforcing just a little bit of everything. Here we got a few archers, we got a couple pikes, we got some skirmishers, and I mean, like, not much else you can throw in there. At least not at this point in the game. Viper beginning to exploit the water and its tasty fish, and of course, increased food rate. Scouts of Viper chase their counterparts across the map, and now archers are hitting both sides. It's going to be a bit of a mess here. Tower will protect the valuable gold mining, not looking to repeat aftermath here. A small, I guess, funneling wall. It's almost impossible to wall off some of these maps, but you can funnel the units into a more favorable engagement. And right now, very That's a lot of archers in his base. Is anyone... Wheelbarrow on the way for Larry. Choosing for those eco upgrades. It looks like Viper in just a minute or so is going to be clicking up to castle. He's got map control. He's on the other side of the map. And when you're forcing your opponent to respond, there's no better way to scout your opponent. And I understand all puns have to be intended here. But there's no better way to scout your opponent than attacking them. You force them to essentially show their units, how much they're producing and what they can produce, assuming you're able to match it. And here, Liereyy is feeling obligated to continually build units instead of bank up for castle. Whereas Viper, on the other hand, 2 minutes on the clock.
Hey, wait.
This game is shaping up well. Last game was shaping up kind of poorly for Viper. Yet, he still found 5 town centers and a win. Of course, these are not the Sicilians, the Cumans over here, but they have later game out. You got your Kipchaks. You have a solid cavalry option. I don't think the Bulgarians are the ultimate late game civ either. Assuming we get there, Larry's still a long way off a castle. And he's got an army in his base. So, well, this is one thing you can do. Send the scouts across the map. See what you can get done on the other side while boxing out the army on yours. Oh, some villagers. We'll see if the archers... That is very unfortunate. Viper hasn't yet seen any of them. Oh, he's so... 3 villagers is a not insignificant part of the economy in this feudal age. They do get home. Larry notices. Meanwhile, the scouts finding some damage. 41 villagers now for Viper and dropping. The scouts are finding targets. And the targets are finding scouts as well, isolated. So you got to be a little careful. Oh, more. Potentially. He notices he's also dealing with everything back at home, remember. So Liereyy is just continuing. We see a bit of a repeat of Atacama, where Liereyy just essentially all in on feudal, the starting age here in Empire Wars. And Viper got caught over-investing in castle. Oh, knights. Knights. Knights are better. They are much better than scouts, so they can fight heads up. Viper now being driven out of Larry's base. And Liereyy being driven out of Vipers as we both go back to our sides and take stock of the situation. So, where are we now? Liereyy has 8 more villagers, but Viper has a little bit on the water. So he does have that food. And of course, Viper also has Castle Age, which gives him access to building more town centers, as well as those valuable knights and additional upgrades. So, according to the score, Viper's slightly ahead. According to map control, I'd argue the same. Though Lierey's still finding a surprising amount of damage with the scouts, partially because it's a nightmare to wall. Like, good luck. You're literally creating more one-size gaps in the wall every time you get 100 more wood. Couple scouts. Actually, I think these are fighting off more than they can chew. The crossbows. Things are starting to trend away from Liereyy here. As, yeah, I'd argue they're trending pretty far. So would Liereyy. And there it is. Viper closes it out. Liereyy not able to find the castle age damage. And that means he goes to match point of the RedBull Wololo 5 finals. A tough one there, but it seems like Viper more comfortable in the later game. Viper, honestly, I think he's your template for a standard player. He's the kind, he plays the way I stereotypically think I'm supposed to, which is make sure you're not vulnerable to too much damage, get to castle, and then maintain an economic lead and eventually kind of squeeze your opponent out of the match. But speaking of squeezing, we have to get every last one of those dollars out of you. So, it's time on Match Point for a quick advertisement, and then we'll be back to the action and Match Point. Hopefully you're enjoying my coverage of the RedBull Wololo finals. Hopefully you want to see some more in the future. Leave a comment, like, subscribe. Be right back. Thank you for watching. Hey everybody, I'm Windsor, and I'm here to talk to you all about overlords. No, I'm not talking about Zerg, I'm talking about our corporate overlords. Yes, you out there on the YouTubes and who love the Googles, I'm talking to you right now. Did you know every time you smash that like button, every time you subscribe, our big daddy algorithm likes you just a little bit more, and more importantly, it likes me. So, make sure to ring that town center bell as well as everything else you could possibly do, because I know you were falling asleep. I know that Age of Empires 2 wood chopping sounds in the background are essentially ASMR for boomers, but now that you've woken up, you can finally get your hands on your phone, realize it's at 17% battery, and that you should maybe charge it. You're welcome. And then like and subscribe. But wait, there's more overlords to go through. Amazon! Have you heard of Amazon Prime? Amazon Prime, it's the best way to get everything. Almost. But with Prime Gaming and a few taps on your Prime quote-unquote smart refrigerator, you can get Prime Gaming. You can get mediocre loot for games that are way too fast for you, and you don't even understand what they are. And you can subscribe to a streamer of your choice every month for free. No, it's not like subscribing on YouTube, though I did just say it's free. Terms and conditions apply. So, with Amazon Prime, you can subscribe to me, and every moment you don't subscribe to twitch.tv/wintergaming, you're losing money for me. So subscribe with Prime Gaming. Because remember, at Amazon Prime, we know where you live. You told us. Thank you guys for sticking around. I know ads are annoying, loud, but in this day and age, feudal, imperial, whatever. Post imperial, I think we are at the moment. We gotta find a way. So, thank you for tuning in. Back to the RedBull Wololo 5 finals. Viper up 3-2, and you can already hear the soothing chopping of the wood. Let's Jimmy! The wood! Would you show? Okay. We're on acclivity. Which, okay. Looks like we have two... there's a hill, and then there's two bases. And on each side of the hill. And, that seems to be the gist. But let's introduce the civilizations as well. We've got Liereyy, who's got the Tatars, but for the uninitiated. They get 50% food from sheep and other like-minded things, and you get free sheep with every new town center. What a steal. As well as a lot of those early upgrades. And archer upgrades for free. Thumb Ring, Parthian Tactics, which is the fancy cavalry archer upgrade. As well as getting an interesting bonus, 25% damage when fighting from elevation. So it appears there may be an opportunity to utilize that on this map. Oh my, Viper walling off, which does serve him well as the Mayans. The Mayans get extra villagers, resources last longer, which is some complicated way to say you'll get more gold out of a patch. Archers are cheaper. They got plumed archers. They got eagle boys, which in the later game have hit points. Yes, they have hit points, but they have even more when you get the research. Eagle warriors. Well, no. Well, you got eagle boys, and they upgrade to eagle mans. and then super eagle mats, or something like that, which are unique to the Mesoamerican civs, the Aztecs, Incas, and Mayans. Mayans, the most popular of the bunch. I'm sure there was a lot of domestic disputes about that, but we are going to start off in a classical manner between these two more archer-oriented civilizations. And it's going to be the same as every other game so far. Very pressing the issue. Viper defending for now, though I do eventually expect some counterattacks. The archers trading shots with each other. Both have fletching. Liereyy actually has +1 archer armor. Something to point out. So that will give him a small but distinct advantage in these. It doesn't give you, like, the fletching is obviously most important because of the range. But the armor, surviving more shots isn't bad. I shouldn't have to explain this. We got it. All right, stop filling time with words. It's my job, though. I would complain about how long Age of Empires series are, except most of these games are significantly shorter than watching Zerg play against Skytoss, so Empire Wars, in my opinion, is actually too quick. Like, you start off so fast, it just becomes feudal age all-ins, in my experience. Liereyy not proving me wrong so far, but Viper, I mean, that's the thing. I watched the Viper, and I'm like, there's no way I can pull that off, because he's jiggling skirmishers around, somehow dodging half a dozen arrows. My villagers just run into the arrows, so I don't really think this is like a fair comparison. I don't know how they're magnetically drawn to them. Yes, the Viper is on match point, so. I like the grunt. Like, they're like, yeah. Yeah, shoot at that palisade. Or not. Did he realize? I think he realized. Yeah, he saw the backup wall. In fact, Viper adding more on as the archers slip around the back. They may be able to pick up a villager or two. Once again, Viper going to be first to cast, but Liereyy isn't far behind. Ooh, Viper losing 2-3. Is he? I'm like, he doesn't just lose archers like that. He did have some coming around. Interesting as well for the taters. There are hills surrounding the basin. So anything but fighting on the field around the bases. There's going to be that extra potential damage for the Tatars. Castle Age across the board, +2 ranged attack as well as crossbows complete. There you're going to back. Oh, well, you don't want to fight up. Don't carry a fancy crossbows. I'm surprised he's not fighting him. I guess he's just assuming he's not going to get any shots. Oh my god, look at that damage. Viper looking the other way again. He's got crossbows at point-blank range, but they can't be hit by the tower. Oh my. Those other crossbows on the home front got absolutely shredded. Pin cushion. And that's it. All right. Yep. Yeah, very dead. Very dead. Oh, I really wanted to see that. Oh, I'm so disappointed. I thought that map would be really cool. This is, of all the maps since, like, Arabia Light Runestones, I thought this map would be the coolest to see play out. But, unfortunately, Empire War strikes again. The archers, too strong, and Viper ends. He's down. He lost all his units. He has no units. It's 23 archers. Crossbow's not even done. And Liereyy has 8 times as many archers. So, that's bad. That's very, not ideal. So. Well. Well, Jimmy. We got one more. Looks like we're going all the way. I don't... there may be... Jimmy's informing me there may be some sort of technical details with this replay that... so just be ready for surprises. Or maybe not surprises, I don't know. Either way. The map is called Land Madness, which is one of the top 5 flavors of madness. And let's jump in. All right. 2 solid civilizations. It looks like they're just blocks of wood and relatively open field. It's almost... Oh my god, it's tiny. There's like no gold. The map is tiny. Like... is it that much smaller than like Arabia? It feels tiny. I don't know. Either way, we got the Teutons and the Berbers, relatively well known, but let's quickly, as the archers are producing already. The Berbers, bears, as I like to call them. Villagers move faster, stable units, they move faster. They're just pretty quick in general. Ships move faster, camel archers, and they have mounted skirmishers that are pretty expensive. Castles work faster, they're just faster. They just do everything faster, all right? As well as the Teutons. They got healing range. They do everything slower, the monks do, but they do it better. Not the monks, the Teutons. So if Berbers are faster, Teutons are better. They got towers garrison more, murder holes and herbal medicine are free, farms cost less, everything garrisons more. And they get more armor, and Teutonic Knights are the most damage infantry. They're essentially Dark Templar, except you can see them the whole time, which is a major issue. They move faster if you put them in a ram, which says a lot.
Yeah.
But they are a fearsome unit in infantry battles.
Later.
So, while the map may not be actually smaller, it definitely feels smaller. Maybe because of the blockiness of the... And Viper will win RedBull! Wololo! Is that... Jimmy... I thought... Okay. And it's all... this may be... I believe there was a bit of a hiccup. German internet known for its stability, usually, and just amazingness. But for once, maybe not so much. I wasn't exactly sure what that meant, but... I don't know exactly the details, but I know there is another version of the game restoring from that point. So, something... A villager got stuck in between the packets, all right? The internet is a series of tubes, and you got to make sure the tubes are fitted. Anyways, here we are. Game 8. And we are picking up essentially where we left off. All right. All right. Viper chasing down a few scouts. Yeah, otherwise we just restored we were just picking up where we left off, essentially. For those wondering what has happened. Not too complicated. When they're marching a line like that, they look very slow. Archers, there is no sprint button. You got to get the speed boost going. Hey, they carry a lot of equipment, okay? Viper is going to be the aggressor this match. Changing it up from all of them so far. By the way, got to put... Kind of important... No. Wait. Got to put Lierey's game on the board. Kind of a relevant part of this best of 7. And single file, they will make their way out of the base. A scout driven out by some villagers happening behind the archery range. where a lot of uncomfortable things happen, if you know what I mean. Ooh, the scout's having a bad day. Scout's just running in. Now, for once, we're just doing a full role reversal for this game. Then again, which is still even confusing because of the civs, but as I mentioned, the civ picks don't matter nearly as much as the unit composition in the early game. Rarely does it affect how this part of the game plays out. But Liereyy is going to be getting his castle age significantly quicker. He's actually taking out, just sniping through archers, maneuvering through the scouts. They also do that extra damage to pikes as well. So his pikes will easily win the battle. Wow, a resounding victory there. For Liereyy, I would say. Especially considering he's got castle age on the way. A trade is good. Like, if you can trade for the critical mass of scouts, if you can whittle down the archer count, well, you're in great shape. This is not as great if he loses villagers to scouts, but he does pop into the TC and hangs out for a while. Villager count, Viper up 6, but a lot of that is the castle age time. There he has 270 wood in the bank. Can slap down a TC if he'd like. Oh, microing the vills away. The pikes adding some damage. Scouts driven out. Will we see a town center immediately, or does he feel obligated to make the units? Liereyy just going to invest in the wood chopping upgrade to get fancier saws there. Viper is nowhere near. Looks like he's starting to bank up the food for castle age, but he finds himself in the rare position of having to play catch-up while keeping Liereyy busy as possible. Bought 100 stone. Oh, had to get more stone to potentially get TCs. Because, I imagine that's why he's buying stone, because he did invest in the tower earlier. Yeah, right now he's not mining any of that stone, so he's only got what's in the marketplace. Alright, Viper. It does very much, based on the fact he's adding a tower, he's going to be going up the castle. Got money in the bank. In fact, he's got gold in the bank, too. Liereyy, though, with a capable defense, will maintain his position. He does a few less villagers, but, well, until he gets more town centers, that's going to continue to be true. Even if Viper has to spend some time. He's lost a few during all of this, though not as many as you might expect. Villagers, particularly hardy units. If you're coming from Starcraft 2, you might expect workers to fall over with a stiff glance of an army unit. No, not here. Villagers are a real and present danger to most military units, especially when they're outnumbered. They might take some damage, but they can take a few hits as well. Like, what do you think? They're out there in the fields all day. No fancy man on a horse is gonna stop them. Liereyy with a couple knights. Yeah, came to the wrong neighborhood, unfortunately. Pike's already there. And then a beautiful quick wall. The knight's just staring in disbelief. They do find one, though. Wait, no. No, Viper closes in. Oh, the jaws of the Viper once again, but... Wait, oh no, the move command! He was right-clicked on one of the archers, which means the scout's getting a lot of time, and Viper, just like that. Not again. Oh, Liereyy, getting caught looking the wrong way on both fronts, and Viper suddenly wins the fight on both sides of the map. Couple knights coming up. The knights with... Does he have +2 armor? He doesn't have +2 armor, so the archers can still kind of do damage to him. Castle age is done. These are still feudal age units. The knight's going to cleave down through the archers with essentially no armor against him. And drive out the rest of the scouts. A third town center. Quick walled in near some of... Is that the closest stone? Wow. Stone at a premium. Always at a premium. By far the most valuable. Honestly, stone is the gold of Age of Empires. And gold is gold. Alright? Not everything needs to be the other things. Some things are just themselves. But stone is more like gold. It's worth way more. Stone patches are, by default, only 350. Whereas gold patches are by default, sometimes default changes, 800. So, not all patches are made equal. Couple pikes. Pikes, much better than spears. They have fancy hats, which is usually the indicator. But knights with any sort of upgrades are going to be still competitive against them. Especially overwhelming their numbers, because for some reason, most of the pikemen are across the map poking at villagers. But not far enough to go over the top of this wall, thankfully. And Dave over here is very, very thankful for that. Dave has successfully, completed a siege workshop. Does he have a scorpion on the way? We will likely see that soon. And also, I love this. I like scorpions are one of my favorite units that I never build because I don't know how to use it. Scorpions are really cool. Dave doing his best. Oh, man, oh my god, watch out! Oh, he's got to be very careful. There's friendly fire, and Dave escapes. All right. Meanwhile, the score, Viper with a slight lead. The villager count, Liereyy with 8 more vills. 7. Well, they both have. Viper's just now adding on a second TC. He's really focusing on getting damage done. The Knight's in the mix. Mangonel runs back in through the alleyways. Knight's slipping through, looking for a concave on the other side. Great Mangonel hit, and by great I mean kind of okay. The Knights, he's gonna repair. Unfortunately, you can't garrison the Mangonel, but you can potentially kill the Knight. There's a lot going on all sides right now. It looks like the Mangonel will go down, but the Knight taken out by the TC. Viper pushing his way forward. Knights rallied across the map. Once again, kind of doing the opposite of what you'd expect with these two civs. But the Berber's able to maneuver into position. And Liereyy has a good economy. He's still got 70 vills, even if he's not always able to gather resources with all of them. Viper is, as Viper always does, covering for, with map control for his economy. This is classical strategy, right? Like, you keep your opponent busy by getting up in their grill and then building your economy behind it. And right now, Liereyy is starting to have a tough time. It looked okay, but the sheer amount of units coming across the map is becoming overwhelming. There's knights all over the place. A castle on the way, palisade taken down, houses behind it, a couple monks. Any knights or camel riders, obvious and juicy targets at the moment. Oh no, they get through! Making all of this essentially moot. They need to get into the tower, but there's so much going on. On the right flank, Viper overwhelmed. The castle completed, but another conversion is impending. The monks a little far forward. Mangonel a pretty good counter to monks. Suddenly, Viper up 12 villagers. Not so suddenly. There was a lot of murder. It's not a very quick process, actually, even when it is quick. Like, it does take a concerted effort to kill a couple dozen villagers. But things have turned. Viper has 26 to 12 military, 77 to 66 on the villager count. He's got 3 town centers. He's not walled in, nor does he need to be when he has this much cavalry. Oh, come on. Who does this? Does Liereyy not see it? Oh my god! He's in that little box of vision. Oh, disgusting. Oh, this is... I'm upgrading that yellow card to a red card here. Oh, come on. Who does this like... we're 23 minutes in. We're past the tower rush phase, okay? But Viper gonna use every advantage. It's all on the line now. You can't begrudge him that. Larry will probably begrudge him a little. Those are stone walls he's constructing. This is going to be the most high HP thorn. A thorn. Tiny thorn. But a thorn nonetheless. Oh my god. It's going to take a whole deal. It needs like a ram or something to deal with that. Meanwhile, knights on both the town centers. I'm sure they have +2 armor by now, right? Yes, he's got +2 armor done. A handful of camels, as well as the TCs themselves will drive it back. And a raiding party in the Viper's base will find not too much. The villager counts are starting to even up. A couple camel archers getting involved. A little easier to kill villagers than with knights, as those villagers have a annoying tendency to run away. What's up with that? God, he just, you know what? I think this was the best move. Just give it up. Just go find some other wood. There's plenty of wood. There are forests full of it. He's not even gonna bother. +2 ranged attack coming in for Liereyy, who that applies to the camel archers. No ballistics. Ballistics is done for Viper. No ballistics for the camel archers at the moment, so gonna have a tough time landing their hits in a lot of these scenarios. Viper is almost 1,000 score up right now. He's got a slight villager lead. 1,000 score isn't everything, but it's not insignificant either. That is pretty borderline right now. Liereyy needs to change the tune of the game pretty quick. Otherwise, things will continue trending in this direction. He's got wheelbarrow on the way. Viper also adding it on. Neither player finding the space for it until now. Well, this is a little sad. What we're seeing, the crossbow's just plinking away as Liereyy just tries to dodge the shots. Some knights chasing crossbows with monks in the front line. A little too close for comfort. Get chopped down immediately. So at least removing that. Camel archers at the back getting sniped out by the crossbows. Conversion on the way up as well. The camels are just gone. The knights cleave them down. The castle finishes. But what is left on the ground? One knight getting caught, but that was a lot of losses there. For, like, I don't even think Viper's that invested. And I guess he's pretty invested in the art. It's just building houses over here. It's still going. And in about 17 years. Now, the question is, if the game goes to the time limit of 1:15, will this house die to the tower? Maybe. Place your bets. Oh my god. The blood on the field. Yeah, this is not like Starcraft 2, for those of you who might be expecting it. You can't just kill buildings by shooting at them. Arrows do not... wood arrows do not melt stone beams. In StarCraft 2, you got enough Marines, you can kill essentially anything, but that technology is still a few hundred years off right now, so... Wow. All right, so this is Viper saying, I would like to win the tournament now, please. He's got Imperial on the way. He's got Archer armor. He's got 147 to 131. Yeah, you can't. Well, maybe it's time for one last RedBull. Why isn't it making the noise? I have the Wololo. Is there anything Liereyy can do? He's not going to stop the castle. So, while this doesn't actually... Like, he's not denying any resources besides some unlucky farmers. This is kind of a strong statement. I'm not sure if those were crossbows. It looks like those were crossbows based on the camel archer HP. Some camel archers making their way out, but he's on top of the production. He's going to get some pot shots on anything that comes out of half the production facilities. And, of course, this could easily slingshot into one forward trebuchets momentarily. And two, just that's one way to get your Teutonic Knights to close the distance. He's not building any, much to my dismay, but any day now. Just this map, the lanes are being cut off. Another castle on the way. Liereyy is now, he's within 1,000 score, and that's before his Imperial. The villager count is well over 100 for both. Liereyy has to survive to Imperial and then figure out what he wants beyond. More crossbows moving through. Where are the arbalists? Do they even get arbalists? I'm not 100%. The Teutons. The farmers are having a great day, right up until a handful of scouts make their way through. Viper was looking at nearly 50 farmers at the moment, and since the Teutons do not get that arbalist upgrade, how does he close it out? Usually trebuchets are your answer. The classic, and it looks like trebuchets are indeed the choice. Liereyy doing what damage he can. One lucky pikeman actually almost finds a kill. Just constant counterattacks. Camel archer raid parties. There's nothing even resembling. You really need those accuracy upgrades. Even with ballistics, it seems like they struggle in the aiming department. It is hard to shoot from a horse or a camel, I would imagine. Well, the concave of trebuchets. I believe we saw two. Where is that second trebuchet from Viper? Well, a couple scouts coming up. Liereyy holding on for dear life, down 1,500 score. Camel archers still doing what they can, but cavaliers have completed. Super knights, not super ultra knights, but super knights now in the Imperial Age. And that castle, Liereyy is struggling to find anything around it. He's got a treb of his own. He's got the castle on the back. Oh! Cloaked by the town center. Not that much stone. Liereyy is almost out of stone. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's it. As both players making use of the market simultaneously, desperate for stone. The castle's moving through, fights on every side. Viper has cleaned up those on his, but he is attacking all the potential fronts right now. Cavaliers, the tower's dead. Finally, the tower has fallen, but the castle came up, so really not much of a win there. Liereyy had to do some marketing in order to find himself with enough to repair his castle. Trebuchet is shelling from afar, or whatever it is you call them. Flinging large projectiles large distances. I don't think shelling is really accurate. Rocking. That sounds good, though definitely wrong as well. I'm pretty sure that mangonel killed the trebuchet while trying to kill the cavaliers. I mean, the cavaliers were not helping things, but Liereyy loses the castle. The trebuchets are trading shots. Oh, actually, this one's targeted. Viper has the rest of the map. Cavaliers are hunting down any exposed villagers. Some more Wololos on the way, though it's not clear where. Camel archers are running through. Light cavalry. Not even camel archers. He can't even afford them at this point. He only has one castle. Oh, Viper. A lot closer than I think a lot of people would have expected this matchup on paper to be. But at the end of the day, it looks like the Viper will plummet from his once high position in Age of Empires 2 into first place of RedBull Wololo, and this major, I think the #1 tournament of the year. He's played a brilliant game, if I do say so with my limited experience myself. He's limited his opponent's options, and he's never really given him any space to break. Every angle, including that little area by the wood line. And Liereyy is chasing down cavaliers in his base. You don't want to tap it out, but he's actually running out of wood that isn't currently being hit by castles, which is not a great sign. A lot of horses dying, but camels as well. I gotta say, Liereyy, the feudal aggression, it feels like Liereyy was playing Empire Wars better, at risk of taking any credit away from the Viper. But he was playing the maps and he was playing Empire Wars better. But Viper is obviously a stronger macro player. Like, absolutely no question on that front. And here, that will win the day. The camel archers are still missing shots. It's so rough. And it's all over. The RedBull Wololo finals will go to the Viper in 7. Was that the longest game? Game 7. Putting on some good games for the fans, which is always something I want to see. And congratulations. So, hopefully, he enjoys... Let's look at those statistics real quick. He enjoys his well-earned winnings. And I didn't catch much of the tournament live, partially because I don't want to spoil myself, but also I'm a vampire, so there's that. But it looked like a lot of fun. Empire Wars is a cool mode, though very fast, as you've seen. I think a lot of people... And that might even be the clickbait for this video, so if you enjoyed it. But faster than Starcraft 2, indeed some of those games were. But I hope you enjoyed my commentary and the tournament. Make sure to check out the players, of course, and any other RedBull events in the future. Going into any Age of Empires we might have going forward. I can think of a few. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. Kappa. Good luck. Have fun. See you next time. Stay chill. We did it.